having a uh, good evening, everyone. So my name is Mohan. So I'm working on the Himalayan glacier about the glacial lakes, how they are evolving since 1960s to now, and then some of them becoming more potentially dangerous to become hazardous for the glacial lake outburst flood. So it's a part of my PhD research. So I will present on those. So my presentation will more focus on what are the glacial lake typically on high mountain regions, and then what is the current state of the glacial lake and how they are evolving since several years with the context of the climate change. So what are the associated hazards and mitigation, and then some key points from my research. So yeah, here's one research how the mass balances of the glacier, especially in the in Himalayan regions. Like if you see the uh, top and bottom one, the mass balance of the glacier is highly negative in the recent decades. So there are much more negative mass balance in the recent period. So this is the kind of the sign for the mountain glacier, and once they melted out, or some of them glacier are converting to the uh, water in the form of the glacial lake. So yeah, glacial lakes they are the form of the ice. They are converting glacier to the water body, and they are also important source of fresh water. And the number of those glacial lakes as well as the volume of the glacier lake is increasing with the times due to the warming and the melting of the glacier. Yeah, this is kind of the types of the glacial lake at surface, different type of the glacial lakes at the surface as well as a terminal moraine of the glacial lakes. So some of them are they formed at the surface of the glaciers, which are typically have low slopes, and then we also have kind of debris covered glacier. The clean type glacier, they are mostly in the slope area, and they are difficult to form large glacial lake. But when they have less slope, and they are suitable for the formation of the glacial lake, and there are number of glacial lakes that they are increasing, especially the glacial lakes which forms at terminus part of the glaciers. They are larger in size due to the geomorphology of the glacier. So if you see the these glaciers, it's kind of typical proglacial lakes that form at the terminal moraine of the glacial lakes. So it has kind of 100 million cubic meter of water with depth of 150 meter or something. So if even half of the waters can burst it out due to the, some triggering factor like avalanche or some other rockfall or landslide, it may have kind of catastrophic hazard in downstream regions. So here is how the glacial lakes are evolving in in Nepal, Himalaya. So this is the one study done in 2005. So this shows there were about 1,466 glacial lakes with total area of 64 square kilometer. But if you see the color of the different glacial lake, the small sized glacial lake with green or black dots, they are very large in numbers in the earlier period, and very small number of the glacial they have larger size with red dots. If you see the check the recent data set, we have the number of glacial lake are also increased, as well as the area and as well as volume of the glacial lake have increased very rapidly. Also the size of the glacial lake, if you see there were only few glacial lake were small larger size, but now you can have glacial lake of the size up to 5 square kilometers. So they holds significant amount of the waters. So the another study this also shows that the number of glacial lakes, different types of the glacial lakes, whether they are connected with the glacier or not connected with the glaciers. So it depends upon how they are growing. This data set showed that they are growing very exponential. But those glacial lakes which are not connected with the glacier, since the glacier is already uh, phased out, they don't have any uh, a specific site to grow up, and they are just becoming more stabilizing and not growing. But the other glacial lake which have a still glacier in their like parent in their side, so they are going up still. So if you see the like the potentially some of the glacial lakes, they are already like categorized as like potentially dangerous glacial lakes by analyzing the different triggering factors. So in case of the Nepal Himalaya, we have kind of 47 glacial lakes. They are categorized as like potentially hazardous. They might be burst out like due to the some uh, instability factors in the Himalayan regions. So out of 47, like about 31 have like very high priority. If they burst out, like they have kind of significant impact in the downstream regions. Also, there might be other infrastructure like hydropower or like community downstream with like some other infrastructure, maybe road, bridges. So once they burst it out, they might have like much higher impact. So they are kept in like high priority. The other lakes, like they might have, even though they burst it out, their impact may be less than the like priority one. So they have like priority second, and then similarly for the priority third. Yeah, if you see the like potentially dangerous glacial lake in the whole like Himalayan and high mountain regions, including the Tibetan part of the China's, the number of the like if you see the like red dots that they have like kind of very high hazards. Once those lakes also burst it out, they will have also impact in the like Nepalese territory. So it's kind of the transboundary issue also. So kind of like hazards. It needs to be like a communication with like 2 or 3 countries sometimes, China, India, then Nepal. Otherwise, like it cannot be like mitigated or the reduction can be, risk can be minimized. So these are just the examples of the few lakes, like how they are growing since like 1990s to 2018, using the Landsat satellite image. So almost, if you see the like almost all glacial lake, they are growing very rapidly. Uh, because they have like a glacier in their like glacier glaciers and with the gentle slope with the slow moving glaciers, so they are kind of a suitable condition for the formation of even more larger glacial lake in the future. So the one of the studies also mentioned that like Nepal has a kind of the highest national level economic consequences due to the like glacial lake outburst flood in compared to the other countries. So due to the like much higher number of the glacial lake as well as like impact on the downstream community in terms of water availability, also impact on like infrastructure such as hydropower or etc. So in Nepal, like till now, like more than 30 glacial lake outburst floods have been already recorded. Uh, some of them are happened in the Chinese territory or impacted on the Nepal, and most of them they originated within Nepal and caused the significant impact. But we also did the one another study in the eastern part of the Nepal. Then we found that 7 new glacial lake outburst floods happened in like this eastern part of Nepal by using the like satellite imagery from 1960s to 1980. So it also like found that although there were several glacial lake outburst floods have been occurring in like different part of the uh, country, we sometimes we cannot notice because of their like small in size. Also, they are very remote. Also, the impact is not significant. But in the historically, if you go like although there was a significant impact in the like in 1960 or 1970s, there was no any report of those floods. So we just like have kind of historical imagery using the like American spy satellite image, and then also did some field verification with the local peoples, and then we found that like at least 7 graph have been uh, recorded in that particular region. So how we recognize the glove in those regions, like this is kind of one examples here, like by using those corona satellite image from the 1962 1964, there was like kind of sign of the glacial lakes, and then we also checked the like moraine of the that glacial lakes. We can see the like some bridged moraine at the end of the glacial lakes, and then if we downstream of the glacial lake, we can see the like eroded bed of rivers. And then again, there was like one village called Polangchungola village in like about 25 kilometers downstream. Half of that village was swept away by that particular bluff. But that bluff was not recorded anywhere. Nobody knew that during that period. But uh, by doing like this kind of study, also we did like verification with the elderly peoples in the like community. They also mentioned that there was like huge flood and caused our place swept away. Also, like many people were displaced from that particular place. Yeah, yeah, there is the like what I mentioned, like we found those 7 new Gulf events at like eastern part of the Nepal's. I just skip this. Maybe yeah, I cannot play this one, but just check whether I can play. Yeah, it's a kind of like examples of not only the like large glacial lakes, sometimes like a small kind of supraglacial lake also have like kind of significant impact. It's like this kind of event was kind of recorded by the David Jones who imaged here. So it's kind of like a small supraglacial as well as like subglacial lakes. They combine together and they cause like significant impact in downstream regions. But although there was a kind of some gabion, so that protects the village from that bluff. But this is also another kind of the bluffs like we are currently like facing. Yeah, a lot of like some sub glacial channels are they are connecting with each other and they are making kind of some flood in the downstream regions. Yeah, yeah, there was no any like kind of the mitigation work or the risk reduction work in the like case of the Nepal Himalaya, but like since the bluff happened in 1985 in the Dikcho glacial lakes, then the many policymakers or like some politicians they have kind of like it was kind of the eye opening for them because it has caused like damage of some hydropower that worth of 3 million USD. Also like damage of 14 bridges, 13 houses and several hectares of the agricultural lands. So after that, like people, our policymakers started to have like some concern about like some mitigation work or risk reduction work for the glacial lakes. These are some pictures of like 1982 and 1985 of that particular blocks. So we talking about the field-based study, like only few glacial lakes out of like more than 2,000 glacial lake, only 3 or 4 glacial lake have been like focused. And then the sometimes the study is still like more on like remote sensing based, like field-based study, like kind of like bathymetric study, and then do some like hydrological measurements. And there are some glaciological measurement in terms of like how glacier is melting up there. So it's still like there are less many glaciers and glacial lakes like they need to have need to be studied since like there might be like upcoming risks from those glacial lakes. We don't know like what is the level of the risks and what are the like potentially impacts in the downstream region. So other lakes, not only like those lakes which are under study, but other lakes, they are also going very fast. And then also there is like limited knowledge of like what will be the potentially, yeah, sorry, what will be the potential category of dangerous from those glacial lakes. And then they are still growing and they are still some of the glacial lakes, they are still growing very fast and the volume of glacial lakes is increasing rapidly. So yeah, there might be the triggering factor will be the difference in the future with the like direct contact of the avalanche, direct contact of the calving cases of the some glacier. So new emerging glacial lakes are increasing also very rapidly. As I did the like the study in the like Everest region by using the very high resolution satellite image using world view and some sports images, and there was kind of like different level of uncertainty by using the different satellite image. So if we can use the very high resolution satellite image, the number of glacial lake is still like increase at different level. So this is how I observed like how the glacial lakes are like changing over times by using like temporal satellite images. We can see like at certain points, like especially at the terminus of the glaciers, they are increasing very rapidly. So this is just another case how they are increasing at like different glacier, particularly talking about the supraglacial lake. And also the if we talk about the frequency, like sometimes the some of the supraglacial lake they appear and then next season they will just disappear, and sometimes they find or they get melted during the like summer seasons, and they find some tunnels or some subglacial channels, and then they just disappear. But some of those again reappear, but some they just continue to grow every year. So these are the some how they are interconnected with the, at the surface, as well as they are supposed to be connected in the subsurface level. So I did a focus study in case of the Gojumpa Glacier, which is also one of the like largest glacier in Nepal. And then we call it like kind of the complex glacial lake. Then I did a unmanned aerial vehicle survey for this particular glaciers, and then generated like orthophoto, and also have a very high resolution digital elevation model for this particular glacial lake. And then I compared these digital elevation models with the earlier digital models, and found there is like kind of lot of changes just in the few years. So this also suggested that this glacial lake also in the future might have more potentiality to become like large glacial lakes in the future. So talking about the mitigation work in case of the Nepal Himalaya, only two glacial lake have been like lowered, or the mitigation work has been done. So that is Choralpa Glacial Lakes, which was lowered by 3.6 meters in 1990 to 2000, and also the Inja Glacial Lake, which was also considered as like more potentially dangerous. It was also mitigated in 2016. Also, some community-based early warning system has been installed on that particular glacial lakes. And but although there are some mitigation work or risk reduction work, but they are still as considered as like highly potential dangerous glacial lakes, because they are still have like different kind of the triggering factors. Sometimes even like seismicity, like direct impact of the avalanche or some rock. Yeah, this is the kind of the examples of like early warning systems they have installed. If there is anything changes in the glacial lakes, they will have data in their like a Department of Hydrology and Meteorology, and they can relay the information in the downstream regions. So this is just examples. It's a kind of the like uh, way forward. Like yeah, there is continuous retreat of the glaciers and forming several supraglacial lake at the surface of the glaciers, and they are more dynamics, rapidly changing, increasing. Some are like disappearing, and some of those are converting to the spillway lakes, and then some of them are like continuously growing and becoming like large glaciers. But some are unconnected glacial lakes. We are already stable, but they might not grow, but the risk is still there. So in the meantime, if you see the like large sized glacial lakes are mainly located at the terminus of the glaciers, which is the suitable site for the deployment of the glacial lakes. The glacial lake which forms a like upstream of the glaciers, they have like less chances to become a like large glacier. So at the terminus part, that is more suitable. So this is like how the glacial lake increased just in 1989 to 2018. It was like increased by 9 times from in those 27 years. So talking about like climate change in the Nepals, if we see the like high mountain regions of the Nepals, the rate of increasing temperature at the like Himalayan region is much higher than the like southern part of the Nepal. So it also indicates that there will be more retreat of the glacier in coming years. So yeah, there will be changes in the different hazard parameter in case of the like climate warming, increase in glacier retreat, then those parameter or triggering factor will change, and then the risk of those glacial lake will be high. Yeah, more will be the number of the glacial lakes, and more will be like category in the like potentially dangerous, and they need to be kind of closely monitoring. And this is the final key message. We need to have like all study of the most of the like those risky glacial lakes with the establishment of the, some early warning systems with like continuous monitoring. We need to have like implementation of the mitigation and adaptation report, as we are here to like negotiate like just to limit the 1.5 degree is temperature, and also we need like very specific study for the those glacial lakes and educate the downstream of the those glacial lakes. Yeah, that's all. Thank you very much. Mm. Any question? Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, in this my particular study, it is not included, but there is some study they have done. They have done like kind of some modeling, like how far water can be reached once the glacial lake is upbursted. So yeah, if you have heard about like the case in the Sikkim of India, like last month, there was like huge glacial lake outburst flood, and then it caused like kind of damage of 1200 megawatts of hydropower, hydroelectricity power. So it kind of like lots of money like they have spent it on the hydropowers, and then also it was about I think 20 something 40 or 45 kilometer downstream of the glacier lake. So if it is still in the mountains, so it will have like impact even like 100 kilometers. 100 kilometer downstream of that particular glacial lake. So once it reached in the like the plain or plain area, the impact will be less. But even like mountain regions like the narrow valley and some community are just located very close to river side. So if there is no any warning system, and then water just comes in like just for few maybe few minutes and then it's gone. So the water level of that flood might be very high, so it can impact on like different community, even like ecosystem, yeah, biodiversity, and yeah, of course, like hydropower or any other infrastructure. Yeah, because yeah, if you see the like before 1960 or 1970s, there, yeah, there used to be some glacier lake outburst flood in the past, but they were very tiny or very small, so the impact was very less. But now, like those glacier lake are becoming much larger and larger. At the same time, so we have like much larger or like expensive like infrastructure in downstream. So much larger glacial lake, and then the impact will be also high with like defense like infrastructure in downstream. So it's kind of like with the increase of the glacial retreats and the favorable condition for the formation of the glacial lake, and they are getting larger. Yeah. We, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, maybe 20, maybe 50 years after, yeah, there is no glacier to form like large glacier lake. Once they have like large enough to grow, they will have not chance to grow. Then maybe there might be no not like increasing number of glacier lake then after, but until the glacier is there, if there is a favorable condition like slope or the glacier velocity, it matters sometimes to become a large glacier lake. So if the glacier is located like in high mountain with the high steep slope, it can't form like glacier lake. But at like down, if it is like valley type glaciers, there is like favorable condition. So uh, yeah, maybe after a few years, maybe there is not increasing number of glaciers. Yeah. If we just talk about the like community, like compared to the like whole population of the country, the impact on the community might be less because very scattered community, lives in the like high mountain regions. But uh, now the main issue is about like infrastructure. So we are highly dependent on the like hydropower infrastructure. So we are supposed to have like a significant amount of the hydroelectricity from those glacier melted waters. So also our economy is mostly like depend on those hydropowers because we are supposed to have like deal with the India or even other country to sell our hydropower to another country. So it will have like another kind of economy for our country or for us. But if we have kind of such kind of the events, like if there is one burst and then cause the like damage of that hydropower, maybe like 700 or 1000 megawatts. So our economy will be like kind of gone. We don't have, like have like such kind of big money to invest again on those kind of infrastructure. So we always look for the like investment from the donor or some like mostly ADB, World Bank, they fund it. But yeah, government have a kind of that economic problem. So much problem for the infrastructure than like community, but still community is also in the high priority. Yeah. You mean only warning system? Ah, okay. Uh, I think just one flood was like 100 years before, but all of the other floods like just within like 40 to 50 years. So I think it is very rough data set because I just did one study in the small part, but I found like 7 new floods. So there might be several other flaws on other regions, but they are not recorded yet. But this kind of record, like 30 records, is just, I guess it's just very few. There might be much more than that. So we don't know like how much flood actually happened in the past. Mm, yeah, of course they know about like it's that like this kind of the events happens like in last year happened in the western part of Nepal and then eastern part like in Sikkim, India, and then 2 or 3 years back that was happening like India again, and then we have kind of similar event magnitude what we call it. So, based on those events, of course, the government know it, and also like due to that kind of awareness level, 2 lakes are already mitigated. The risk is like kind of minimized, but still they are considered dangerous. But yeah, they are again like proposing to minimize the few other glacial lakes, like mm, by getting the fund from the some like GCF, Global Environment Facility or something like that. They are just trying, but they don't have like own funds to invest on. It's like, thank you.